Recording in progress.
Okay, so welcome back to the second session of this induction program. So yesterday we were discussing about the Lipschitz continuity, and I told you that why we are discussing about Lipschitz continuity, because basically we want to examine that under what condition my initial value problem would have a solution. Means say under what circumstances my solution will exist, and if the solution exists, what can you say about the solution? Means, will your solution going to be unique, or say you may have, or say you will have a say infinitely many solutions, or how many solutions you will have? Okay, so welcome back. So yesterday we were discussing about the Lipschitz condition, and I told you why we need to discuss about the Lipschitz condition, because we basically want to examine on that under what condition my initial value problem will have a unique solution, or in particular under what condition my say initial value problem would have a solution. And if the solution exists, then further I can ask whether whatever solution is going to exist, will that be unique, or I can have more than one solution. So to answer that question, we need to study the very basic theorem that is Picard's existence theorem. Okay, so what Picard's theorem says is, suppose that f is a function which is continuous and is defined in some region. So basically, f is a function from a region to some set. Now, this R is basically a subset of D. What is D? D is a domain. Domain is basically an open connected subset of R2. So I have a pictorial representation like this. This is going to be my D, and inside D I have R, that is region, and my f is a function defined on this region. Also defined on this region. So region is nothing but your small rectangle, or it may be an strip. So my f is a function defined on this region and which is continuous. Now you pick a point x0, y0, which is interior to this R. So you pick a point x0, y0, which is interior to this R. Now, this is how I define rectangle. Mod of x minus x0 less than or equal to a, and mod of y minus y0 is less than or equal to b, and a and b positive. Now such an a and b will definitely exist because my x0 and y0 are actually interior point to R. So what do you mean by interior point? You pick a point in R, you will definitely get an open ball or neighborhood surrounding that point, which is contained totally inside R. So this will give you the guarantee that such an A and B will definitely going to exist. Okay, now since my f is a continuous function on R and this R is a compact set, so f is a bounded. So f is a bounded function in R, and since f is bounded, you can definitely find the bound of f. That is, there will exist some m positive such that mod of x comma y will be less than or equal to m for each and every x comma y belongs to R. Okay, then, okay, so under this condition, means if these two conditions are satisfied, then my initial value problem will have at least one solution defined in this interval mod of x minus x naught less than or equal to h, and where h is the minimum of a and b by m. What is this m? M is nothing but this bound of f. Okay, so this is how I give the guarantee about the existence of the solution. Now, we will talk about the uniqueness part. Okay, so now the solution exists. So now our next question is to answer is whether my solution will be unique or I can have more than one solution. Okay, so suppose f and del f by del y both are continuous function in R. So f, and this is the partial derivative of f with respect to y, is continuous function in R. Hence, both are bounded function. Because f and del f by del y are continuous function on R and R is a compact set, so this both the functions are actually bounded in R. So because f is bounded, you can definitely find the bound of f, that is mod of f of x comma y will be less than or equal to m, and del f by del y mod is less than or equal to beta for some beta positive. So, but remember, this is nothing but the Lipschitz continuity, because I told you earlier that if your function satisfies Lipschitz condition, if you want to check that your function satisfies Lipschitz condition or not, then it is enough to check the partial derivative of f with respect to the second variable y and show that that partial derivative of f with respect to the second variable is bounded. So in a way, this is nothing but your uniqueness part. So in a way, this is nothing but your Lipschitz continuity or Lipschitz condition for function f. Fine. Okay. And then under this condition, your initial value problem will have a unique solution in the interval mod of x minus x naught less than or equal to h. And again, let me recall what is h. H is nothing but the minimum of a and b by k. So pictorially, you can say that this is nothing but your rectangle. This is nothing but your a. This is nothing but your b. Now this is a point x naught comma y naught, which is interior to a, which is interior to R. Now, if you pick a point x naught comma y naught, because your D is an open connected set, so definitely you will get a neighborhood containing that point and which surrounds your point x naught comma y naught and which is entirely contained in D. So definitely you can find a point A and B. Fine. So this is my x naught y naught. So this distance. So this is my x naught plus A. This is my x naught minus A, and this is my y naught minus B, and this line will be y naught plus B. Fine. Now your h is here the minimum of A and B by k. So you have two cases. Either A is less than B by k, and the second case would be B by k will be less than A. See, if A is less than B by k, means what? Your A is less than B by k, so in that case, your minimum value will be A. So minimum value H will be equal to A. So in that case, inside this bigger rectangle, I will get a solution. And if B by k is less than A, then your B by k will be the minimum value, and that is going to be equal to H. So your H will be equal to B by k. So in this case, you will get a solution in this smaller rectangle. Fine. So let me start with the sum. So consider the IVP dy upon dx equal to y square, and y of 0 is 2, and let R be the rectangle, say set of x comma y, such that mod of x is less than or equal to a, and mod of y minus 2 is less than or equal to b, and a and b are positive. Okay, so find the interval of its existence by Picard's theorem. Okay, so your initial value problem, you are given by y dash equal to y square. So dy by dx equal to y square. Okay. So basically your f is nothing but y square. So f of x comma y is equal to y square. So you want to find the modulus of f because you want to show that f is bounded. So in order to show that f is bounded, I need to calculate the bound of f. So for that, I take the modulus. So modulus of x, f of x comma y will be equal to modulus of y square. But remember, the condition inside R is mod of y minus 2 is less than or equal to b. So mod of y minus 2 is less than or equal to b. So this means that mod of y lies between b minus 2 and b plus 2. So basically mod of y will be less than or equal to b plus 2. But remember, your b is positive. Your b is positive, so b plus 2 is also positive. So that means mod of y square will be less than or equal to b plus 2 the whole square. So mod of y square is going to be less than or equal to b plus 2 the whole square. And this is my bound m. So h is nothing but the minimum of a and b by m. So now I will write this function phi b. Phi of b is nothing but b by m. But what is the value of m? M is nothing but b plus b divided by b plus 2 the whole square. So this is my phi of b is nothing but b divided by b plus 2 the whole square. So now I will calculate phi dash b equal to 0. So phi dash b equal to 0. So you differentiate this with respect to b. So this is going to be b plus 2 the whole square, and the derivative of b is going to be 1 minus your b as it is, and b plus 2 the whole square, the derivative will be 2 times b plus 2 into this b, and in the denominator you will have b plus 2 to the power 4. B plus 2 to the power 4. So b plus 2 is, your b is positive, so b plus 2 is positive, and square of any number is always positive, so this quantity is going to be positive. So when this multiplied by 0, it is going to be 0, and you just simplify, so you will get b equal to 2. So at this point b equal to 2, I'm going to achieve local minimum or local maximum. Now, in order to find whether it is local minimum or local maximum, I have to calculate the second derivative. So phi double dash b is nothing but this. So this is going to be minus 4 upon b plus 2 to the power 8. Fine. Okay, so phi double dash b is going to be this. So fine. Okay. So now I choose h equal to minimum of a and 1 by 8. So my h is nothing but 1 by 8. So why? Because this a has no restriction. So I take minimum value as 1 by 8 because this a is actually unbounded. So this h equal to 1 by 8. So mod of x will be less than or equal to h. So this is my interval of existence of solution. So mod of x will be less than or equal to 1 by 8. So your x lies between minus 1 by 8 to plus 1 by 8. Okay, so let me go with the second sum. So y dash equal to y square plus cos square x. Your x is positive and your y of 0 is also 0. And we want to find the largest interval of existence of solution, which is predicted by the Picard's theorem. and the options are given by 0, 1, close interval 0, 1, close interval 0 to 1 by 2, close interval 0 to 1 by 3, and close interval 0 to 1 by 4. So your y dash, so y dash, that is dy by dx equal to y square plus cos square x, and your x is positive, and your initial condition is given by y of 0 equal to 0. So your function is nothing but y square plus cos square x, and your region is given by mod of x minus x naught less than or equal to a, and mod of y minus y naught is less than or equal to b. But from the initial condition, your x naught and y naught both are equal to 0. So this is going to be mod x less than or equal to a, and mod b is less than or equal to b. So you can notice that your f is a continuous function. So now I try to find the bound of f. So bound of f will be modulus of f equal to modulus of y square plus cos square x. But using the triangular inequality, this is going to be less than or equal to mod y square plus mod cos square x. So this is going to be b square plus 1. So my bound is nothing but b square plus 1. Okay, so now let me show that your f is ellipsis. So let me show that your f is ellipsis. So in order to show that f is ellipsis, I have to calculate the partial derivative of f with respect to the second variable y. So mod of del f by del y is nothing but mod of 2y, but mod of 2y is less than or equal to 2 times b. Because b is positive, I don't need to use the modulus sign. So therefore, your f is a ellipsis function. So your f is ellipsis. So your interval of existence of solution will be equal to mod x less than or equal to h, where h is actually the minimum value among a and b square plus 1. So again, let me find. So what is my phi of b? My phi of b is nothing but b divided by b square plus 1. So if you calculate phi dash b equal to 0, then your b will be 1. And your second derivative, say evaluated. So your second derivative evaluated at a point b equal to 1 is negative. So therefore, I take h equal to minimum of a and 1 by 2, but there is no restriction on a, so I take my minimum value equal to 1 by 2. So my interval will be mod of x less than or equal to 1 by 2. And also you can see your mod is always positive. So basically, largest interval of existence of solution will be close 0, 1 by 2. So your correct option is option B. Fine. Okay, so let me go to the next sum. That is dy upon dx equal to 2 root y, and your initial condition y of 0 equal to a. Now they are asking that this initial problem has unique solution if a less than 0, no solution if a is positive, infinitely many solution if a is equal to 0, and unique solution if a is greater than or equal to 0. Fine. So let me solve this sum also. First of all, what will be my f? So f of x comma y will be nothing but 2 times root of y. So my del f by del f by del y will be 1 upon 2 root y. But you can see that at a point y equal to 0, this function 1 upon root y is not defined. So basically, your partial derivative of f with respect to the second variable is not bounded. So it is unbounded. So you cannot use on the Picard's uniqueness or existence theorem here. So you have to find the solution straight away. So you find the solution straight away, that is dy upon dx equal to 2 root y. So that means dy upon root y equal to 2 times dx. So you integrate both the side. So if you integrate both the side, then it will be root y, that is 2 root y, and this is going to be 2x plus c. So now use the initial condition. Your initial condition is given by y of 0 is equal to 0. So y of 0 equal to 0. Use so using the initial condition, your 2 root a will be equal to c. So therefore, your solution is given by 2 root y equal to 2x plus 2 root c. Okay, so further I can take 2 common. So simplifying this, I get root y equal to x plus root of c. Fine. Now you can see if your a is less than 0, let me write down. If a is less than 0, then root a does not make sense. Because this c is a real number. And if this a is negative, then root a is going to be complex. And that is not allowed, because on one hand you are saying this is a complex number and this is a real number. How they are going to be equal? Fine. So your a cannot be negative, since your c is a real number. But look at your option number a. Option number a is unique solution if a is less than 0. But whatever we are getting from this, we can conclude that if a is less than 0, we actually do not have any solution. So if a is less than 0, we do not have a solution. Forget about the uniqueness. We don't have any solution if a is less than 0. So therefore, your option A is false. Fine. Now let me conclude if a is 0. So if a is 0, if a is 0, then root y equal to x. So y equal to x square. So in that case, your y equal to x square. And this has infinitely many solutions. Has infinitely many solutions. So your option C is true. Option C is that C says that infinitely many solution if A is equal to 0. So therefore, your option C is actually true. Fine. And now look at the case when A is positive. So if A is positive, then this is nothing but root y equal to x plus root A. And yes, this is the unique solution. So if A is positive, then you have a unique solution. So which means that your option B is false. Your option B is false. Why false? Because your option D is false. I'm sorry. So why your option D is false? Because if A is greater than or equal to 0, option B is false. Why option B is false? Because this option B is saying that if A is greater than 0, then we do not have any solution. But we can see that if A is positive, then we have actually unique solution. So your option B is false. Oh, okay. So your correct option is actually D. So your correct option is C. Sorry. So your correct option is actually C. That is, this IVP has say infinitely many solutions if A is positive. Okay, so let me go to the next one. That you consider your IVP dy upon dx equal to y square and y of 0 is 1 and your x comma y belongs to R2. Then there exists a unique solution in which interval? And they are asking about the interval of existence in which your IVP has a unique solution. Fine. So let me start with the sum. So yes, your interval of existence is nothing but x minus x naught is less than or equal to h. Very call. What is your h? H is nothing but your minimum of A and B by M. Where what is M? M is actually the maximum value of function f. Fine. So here your function is nothing but actually we don't know. Actually, we don't need to go with this. I'm sorry. Fine. Okay. So dy upon dx, you straight away find the solution. Dy upon dx equal to y square. So which means that dy upon y square equal to dx. So on integrating both sides, we get minus 1 upon y equal to x plus c. So your y of x is nothing but minus 1 upon x plus c. Fine. So now use the initial condition. Your y of 0 is 1. Your y of 0 is 1. So which means your c is negative 1. So therefore, your y of x is nothing but minus 1 upon x minus 1. So this is nothing but 1 over 1 minus x. So you look at the look at the part where you could have a solution. So therefore, the solutions exist in the interval minus infinity to 1, because you can see that at point x equal to 1 this function is not uh, defined actually. Fine. Okay, so let me go to the next one. That consider the IVP dy upon dx equal to x into y to the power 1 by 3 and y of 0 is 0. So which of the following are correct? And this question was asked in June 2013, part C question. So more than one option could be true. So the function f of xy equal to as x into y power 1 by 3 does not satisfy a Lipschitz condition with respect to the second variable y in any neighborhood of 0. And your option B is there exists a unique solution for the IVP. Your option C is there exists no solution for the IVP. And your option D tells you that there exists more than one solution for the IVP. Fine, so let me solve this. So first of all, let me write down what is given. So dy upon dx is actually x y to the power 1 by 2. So x into y to the power 1 by 2. So therefore, your dy upon dx, therefore, your dy upon y to the power 1 by 3 equal to x dx. So if you integrate, so this is going to be y to the power 2 by 3 equal to x square by 3 plus c. Okay, so if you use the initial condition y of 0 is 0, so from this you will get the value of c to be equal to 0. So therefore your solution will be y to the power 2 by 3 equal to x square by 3. So this looks like a okay. Now further simplifying, so take the so further simplifying, so y equal to x square by 3 to the power 3 by 2. So check, see, okay, so this is one solution, and you can see कि y equal to 0 is also a solution, is one solution. See also y equal to 0 is also a solution. So you have at least more than one solution. So your option D is correct. So option D is correct. Fine. Okay, now option D is correct. So immediately your option B becomes false. And your option C is also false. So now we have to look at say only option A. So option A, so for option A, okay, so for option A, your function is nothing but x y to the power 1 by 3. Okay, so you want to check that whether it is Lipschitz or not. So you find the partial derivative of f with respect to the second variable y. So this is nothing but 1 by 3 x y, 1 by 3 minus 1, that is minus 2 by 3, right? But this is equal to 1 over 3x y to the power 2 by 3. So you can see that this actually tends to infinity as your y approaches to 0. So your ellipsis condition is not satisfied because the partial derivative of f with respect to y, the modulus, is not bounded. Fine. So this function is not ellipsis in any neighborhood of 0. 0 creates problem, right? Oh, so therefore, your f does not satisfy the ellipsis condition in, say, any neighborhood of 0. Right? So your option A is also true. So the correct options are A and D. Fine. So let me go to the sixth one. This question was asked in NET on December 2012, and this is part B question. So the differential equation y dash equal to 60 into y square to the power 1 by 4, 1 by 5, sorry, and your x is greater than 0, and your initial condition is y of 0 equal to 0 has a, on number 1 they are asking about unique solution, uh, then two solutions, then no solutions, then infinitely many solutions. So basically they are asking about how many solutions will be there. Okay, so let me do this. So your f is nothing but 60 y square to the power 1 by 5. And you can notice this is a continuous function. So this is a continuous function. So there exists by say Cauchy-Peano theorem, there exists say at least one solution. Fine. Now let me start with f of x comma y equal to 60 into y to the power 2 by 5. So what is going to my del f by del y? So mod of del f by del y is going to be 24 divided by y to the power 3 by 5, and which is tending to infinity as your y tends to 0. So this is also this function does not satisfy ellipsis condition near y equal to 0. So therefore f does not satisfy ellipsis condition near y equal to 0. So therefore unique solution is not possible. So unique solution is not possible. So your option A is wrong. Fine. Now you can see K. Note that y equal to 0 is actually a solution. So y equal to 0 is a solution, which means that your option C is also false, right? C, unique solution is also false. No solution is also false. So you have two cases. Either you have two solutions or you will come across with C infinitely many solutions. So now let us find the solution. So your differential equation is nothing but dy upon dx equal to 60 into y to the power 2 by 5. So dy upon y, to the power 2 by 4, 2 by 5 equal to 60 times dx. So on integrating, both the side with respect to x, we are going to get, so your final integration will be 5 by 3 y to the power 3 by 5 equal to 60 times x plus c. And you can see your y of 0 is 0. So implies your c is actually 0. So your solution is y of x equal to 36x to the power 5 by 3. So you can see that this has infinitely many solutions. So your option 4 is true. Means your option D is true. So your option D is true. Okay. Let me go to next one. That consider the initial value problem. Y prime t equal to f of t into y of t, and y of 0 is 1, where f is a continuous function from R to R. And then the initial value problem has your option 1 is infinitely many solutions for f. Your option B is a unique solution in R. Your option C is no solution in R for some f. And your option D is has more than two solutions in an interval containing 0, but not on whole R for some f. Fine. Okay, so straight away, we don't know about the function, so we cannot use the Picard's theorem, because in order to apply Picard's theorem, we should know about the function. Because we are basically trying to evaluate the partial derivative of f with respect to y, and we are showing that the derivative is bounded. But here we have no idea what my f is, so so certainly I cannot use the Picard theorem. So okay, so it is better to find a solution directly using the known methods. Okay. So let us find that your y prime t equal to f of t into y of t, and your y of 0 is 1. So dy upon y equal to f t dt. So therefore, you integrate this. So this is nothing but log of y and limit is from 0 to t equal to 0 to t f of t dt. I should use some other name, say f of s ds. Fine. So basically, this is going to be log t. No, sorry, log of y of t divided by y of 0, which is equal to integral from 0 to t f of s ds. But your initial condition y of 0 is given 1. So this is going to be log y of t equal to 0 to t f of s ds. So your y of t is nothing but the exponential of 0 to t f of s ds. And you can see this as a unique solution. Okay, so this is the unique solution. So your option B is the correct option. Fine. Let me go with one more. So let P be the polynomial of degree n with n is greater than or equal to 2. So degree is at least 2. On the initial value problem, y prime t equal to P of u, sorry, on the initial value problem, u prime t equal to P of u of t, u of 0 is 1, as always. See, again the options are same, looks like same, that a unique solution, say n number of distinct solution in R, say no solution in say any interval containing 0 for some p, and your last option is a unique solution in an interval containing 0. Fine, so let us try to solve. Let p be a polynomial. Let p be a polynomial of degree, say at least 2, right? And your IVP is nothing but u prime t equal to P of u of t, and u of 0 is 1. Okay, so you can take your polynomial p to be with any which is of degree greater than or equal to 2. Okay, so in particular, I can choose any polynomial which has degree greater than or equal to 2. Okay, so for the sake of simplicity, let us take my p to be the simplest polynomial, that is x square. So consider p of x equal to x square. So your u prime t is actually p of u of t. So your du upon dt will be equal to u square of t. So this is my say 1. Say du by u square will be equal to dt. So this is nothing but minus 1 upon u of t equal to t plus c. So this is my equation number 2. Okay, so what is given? Your initial condition is u of 0 is 1. So u of 0 is 1. So c will be equal to minus 1. So from 1, I will have minus 1 upon u of t will be equal to t minus 1. So basically your u of t is equal to 1 upon 1 minus t, where t cannot be equal to 1. Okay, so option 1 is false clearly. So the option 1 is false, that it has a एक minute. Okay, so yes, so option 1 is false. I think this option is a unique solution at t equal to 1. Yes. Okay, so option A is false, because at t equal to 1 this function is not even defined. So how can you talk about the solution, right? So your option 1 is false. Okay. Now look at option 2. Option 2 is also false, I think, because this says that n number of distinct solutions. But you can see that this has only one solution at every point, but degree is 2. So degree is not equal to the solution. So this option 2 is also false. Option 3, no solution in any neighborhood containing 0 for some p. That is also false, because we have seen that it has a unique solution actually. In a neighborhood containing, it's not 0 actually, it's 1. So in a neighborhood also in a neighborhood, or say in an interval containing 1, it has a unique solution. So this is also false. This says that no solution in any interval containing 1 for some p, but this is a false statement. So your option D is correct, that a unique solution in an interval containing 1. Fine. So your option D is true. Okay, so we stop here. So this was the topic. So I stop here, and thank you very much.